Good to be with you all. Thank you all for being here on time. Please come onto camera if you are able. And looking forward to today's lesson on executing and monitoring in project management. Before we get started, though, Mr. Randy is today's assistant instructor. Randy, how are you? Don't look so surprised. It's on Schoology.
Dramatic effect,
Of course, I love it. How are you, my friend?
I'm okay. I'm okay. How
Yeah,
about yourself?
not bad. It's Monday. We're making it through, so can't complain. So, Randy, why don't you tell us a little about yourself? Where are you from?
Bronx, New York, born and raised. It's the best place on the planet. Should be the capital of the world, but it's only so much we can do.
Facts. I'm also
Yeah.
from the Bronx.
Yeah. I'm both from the Bronx. Only boy. Raised. I'm a mama's boy. I love my mama. Um, I am. I'm not a chef, but I have my own secret recipes for things. So I have like my own secret sauce. I have secret seasonings. Um, I have a cat. His name is Roscoe. It's about a year and some change now. I live by myself. I like music. Well, I rap, so yeah. I think that's pretty much it. I'm an open book.
Awesome. Those are some pretty interesting, fun facts. I want to go back to your homemade sauce slash seasoning. So, how did you get into like making your own stuff like that?
Oh, I have a friend who works. Well, he used to work at a restaurant called Blue Ribbon,
Mm-hmm.
and now he works for Facebook. So he's a chef there. So he kind of put me on to things. So we try to mix stuff together because we like to eat. I'm a big dude, so I like to eat. So I
Mm-hmm.
like to have my own little flavor to things.
I love it. I love it. Excellent. Cool. And why'd you join Year Up, Randy?
Honestly, it was kind of like a last resort kind of thing. This was like, all right, this is either gonna put me on to the real world, or I'm gonna just keep going down. So this was
Mm-hmm.
like my last resort before not doing anything or like going back to school. So
Sure. Awesome. Awesome. I hope that you feel like you made the right decision so far in the program.
I feel like I have.
That's excellent to hear. All right, Randy. So, what is a question that you want to pose to our group to kind of get us warmed up for the day?
Um, what's your favorite song? So like, what's a song that you will always go to, and why?
Awesome. So, in the chat box, your favorite song or your go to song. What do you appreciate about that song and why? And Randy, as the chat box is being populated, everyone's deep in thought, so it might be a few minutes. But what's your favorite song or your go-to song? Is it like right now? Like what's your favorite song currently, or is it like of all
Nah, like
time?
yeah, of all time, like you play the song and like whatever you're doing, you're stopping to sing the song, or you at least acknowledge that the song is on. It's a great song.
Gotcha, gotcha. Cool. And what's your song for that, Randy?
Um, I like old school R&B music.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a song called it's a song about Music Soul Child. It's Cam Friends, Just Friends.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
like my
yeah,
top five song of all time. So love that
yeah.
song.
That's a great song. So for me, the one song that no matter where I am and if I hear it, you gotta like just listen. It's Notorious B.I.G. Juicy. That's a great song. You could just listen to that song over and over and over again. It never gets old. So that would be my go-to.
It's a
So
great choice. Great
yeah,
choice.
thank you, thank you. Um, yeah, but I like all music. I mean, I like the oldies. I like hip hop. I like rock and roll. I'm happy with all of it. I think every genre of music has something that you can appreciate about it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Very true.
very cool. All right, so we got. All right, Dondre, you're gonna have to say this person's name because I have no idea who this is. How do you pronounce that? Lil Uzi Vert. Am I saying that right?
Perfect. You got it. You got it right.
All right, thanks.
That's
I Can
it.
Drive. Anything by Bad Bunny. How is that? Is that Angie RN? I'm not gonna say that. Randy,
Oh,
help
right
me
now.
out.
She's. I think RN. I think she means like right now.
Right now,
It's
okay.
called Digiti or Dakati. Dakiti.
By Bad Bunny.
My bad, Bunny. So
Gotcha.
he just recently released that song.
Okay. Promiscuous. I know that song. I forget who sings it, but I remember hearing that song back in the day.
Wait, like
Um,
promiscuous girl?
Is that the one you're talking about, Brian?
Oh, with Nelly Furtado. That's a good song.
Oh yeah, Nelly Furtado. That's right. That's who sings it. Okay. You know what's interesting? I didn't know who Bad Bunny was until he did like that tour through Harlem, the Bronx,
Oh,
and
on the
Washington
bus.
Heights. Yeah, that was really cool. And I saw on YouTube, and I went right back to my apartment. I was like, wait, that's my building. And everyone's like chasing him down to like watch his show. And everyone like couldn't believe it. You don't know who Bad Bunny is? I'm like, no, I don't know who Bad Bunny is. And actually, I like his music. And I thought it was a really creative idea too, like to do a concert in a COVID world, just travel, it's all legal to drive a bus. So there we go. All sorts of good songs. Tyler the Creator, Timbaland, yeah, that one very cute from Guitar Hero. You know what else? Speaking of oldies, anything by Jimi Hendrix, I can just listen to that. That's just good music, It's just like I love Jimi Hendrix. Awesome. All right. Bad Bunny is the reason I started my crazy sunglass collection. Well, there you go. I love it. Well, thank you, Randy, for being for sharing that question. Obviously, it prompted a lot of discussion. It's always good to enjoy some nice music. And once again, to remind everybody, Randy will kind of help me run the class today. If anybody has a question, raise your hand, put it in the chat box. I might not always be able to see or get to it, but Randy can flag me and let me know. So, opening question. You can either raise your hand or put it in the chat box. What did we discuss last unit or last week? What were some of the key themes or ideas that we discussed? Who remembers? I know it feels like that was like a month ago, but what did we discuss last week in class? In the chat box or raise your hand, either one. Yeah, the PM Book of Knowledge. Tyrell, did you go in Schoology and just spend your whole entire weekend reading it?
No.
Oh, okay. I was really excited about it. I was like, wow, you pay attention to the Project Management Book of Knowledge. You just were that interested. Yes, for those who missed it last week, that is everything you want to know about project management and then some. Yoel, time management and budgeting. Why is that important in project management, Yoel?
It's important because time management is kind of like, it tells you how much you're going to have to spend.
Mm-hmm.
And also like gives you an idea of how long a project will take.
Mm-hmm.
And it just says a lot about you, how you organize or manage time management.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Joelle. That's so important because when you're a project manager, you're not just managing your own time, you're making sure everybody else is getting their deliverables done on time as well. And we're going to spend some time chatting about that today. How to determine something, how long it will take. Thank you, Sophia. Creating schedules with due dates, very important when you're managing a team. Thank you, Angie. So let's talk about this. Personal or professional. Share a time when you set out to do something, but you never did it. Take 15 seconds. Think about it. A time in your life or your career where you set out to do something, but you never did it. Justice Santiago, please unmute yourself. Tell us a time in your life when you set out to do something, but you never did it, Justice.
I guess a frequent example would sometimes be with hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's something I am like working on, but like I guess one would be like, when I did clubs in high school and I tried to do music club, but I sort of like fell out of it because there were like other things that I was focusing on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that would be a time.
So it's easy to get distracted by other things. Definitely a normal struggle. Precious, I see your hand raised.
Mine would have to be when I came out of college. No, when I came out of high school, I wanted to become a flight attendant, but everybody kept pushing me to go to college. I mean, it's still my life goal to experience what it feels like to be a flight attendant, but I don't know. Life got in the way.
It has a tendency to do that, doesn't it? So thank you for sharing. Actually my best friend's wife is a flight attendant and she really enjoys it. And I am very jealous of their lifestyle. I mean, not so much anymore because obviously a lot of Flights are not happening because of a COVID world. But I remember like 2 years ago, she had to fly to London for Christmas. So her and her husband flew to London for free, and had Christmas Day and a couple days after in London for no cost. I'm like, pretty sweet gig if you ask me. So that's pretty awesome. Thanks for sharing, Chelsea.
I always wanted to start a a YouTube channel, and I just never got to it.
What would your YouTube channel be about, Chelsea?
Many different things. Like I have a lot of ideas. So,
I think you should start a project management YouTube channel. What does everybody else think? PM by Chelsea P has a great ring to it. Awesome. Yeah, YouTube channel. That's a lot of work to start a YouTube channel or a podcast or something like that. It's a lot. How about Jose Rivera? What's a time in your life when you set out to do something and never completed it?
I always wanted to be a day trader.
Cool.
I picked it up, but then I dropped it. Never got back to it.
So I have a question because I've been doing a little bit of day trading, not obviously for my job, but just for fun. Like, how much money do you think you have to manage to be like a day trader professionally? How much capital do you need to get started, do you think, Jose?
For you to be able to trade every day, you need at least $25,000 in your account. Not to say you can't trade, you just can't like you could trade underneath having 25,000. You're just not allowed to trade every day. Like you have to wait like a certain amount of days before you could trade. There's just certain rules that they have.
Gotcha. So right now I'm $24,500 below that, so I'm good. I start off with $500. That's all I mess with right now. But that's good to know, Jose. Thank you. So I know that I'm in the clear for a while.
Yeah, it'll be okay.
Awesome. Thank you. I was really worried that the IRS is gonna come after me or something for trading my 0.5 stock and Lyft, right? So, all right. Execute and monitor. I got a short video in the YouTube chat. Go in the chat. It's a YouTube link. Take 5 minutes, watch this, and let's come back and discuss it. You can go off camera for this if you need to. All right, it's 12:47. I understand that video was a little bit technical. If you didn't understand everything that she was saying, that's okay. You don't have to have mastery of the subject yet. We're still just learning. But I am curious, if you have a takeaway from the video, you want to put in the chat box. What was something that she said about the monitoring and controlling aspect of project management that you found interesting? And as you go ahead and populate the chat box, oh, never mind. I don't have to say anything. Dondre's gonna bless us with his wisdom. Dondre, take it away. Dondre, you sound a little squeaky. No problem. You sound like Mickey Mouse. All right, Dondre stepped away for a second. All right, Sophia wrote key inputs and key outputs. Yep. How'd you understand that, Sophia? What does that look like as the video stated?
I understood for the most part, but I guess like the key inputs are kind of like what you're putting into it. So like the project management plan and any change requests, and then the key outputs would be like the deliverables and such. Yep,
exactly. The thing about the control and monitor section of being a project manager is that this is where you earn your money. And what I mean by that is like this is the hardest part of the job. This is when you're making sure that everybody's doing what they're required to do. They're coming on, managing the changes, doing their deliverables, doing them in a timely manner. That's important. Dondre, can we hear your normal voice now?
Hear me now?
You sound great.
Well, Sophia said it, what I was gonna say. So.
Yeah, I hate it when that happens, And it's always with Sophia. She always just says it before I can say it.
Always Sophia, like nobody else in the class.
So excellent deliverables on why the projects are created, managing changes. There's a lot that was said in that 3-minute video. I'm going to break it down as simply as I can. Randy, can you see my screen okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. So opening exercise. No one said anything about working out. This is always mine. I'm always like, man, I'm gonna get a gym membership and I'm gonna get ripped. Then it never quite works out. So I still have to do something and never complete it, because a lot of times we have what is called a failure to execute. So we have these grandiose ideas of what we think we're gonna do. We make a plan, we do all this, but then what happens is we fail to execute. And that's why this section is the longest, but the most important section of being a project manager, making sure everything goes according to plan, which it never does because we live in an imperfect world. So what is the execution phase? In short, everybody, it is the longest part of project management. You've already done the initiation, you've already done the planning, you've done everything you need to do to get the ball rolling. Now you've officially kicked off the project, and now you, project manager, are responsible for making sure that everything gets done. And this is the point where a lot of people think, oh, wait, I was liking project management until I was told I have to be the boss. Because you have to be the boss. You have to keep people accountable, to make sure everyone's measuring progress, to make sure that everyone's doing what they're required to do. At the same time, you're also hearing from the stakeholders and the sponsors what they need as well. So you're kind of caught in the middle of all this motion happening. And that's why the project managers starting salaries are $90K a year and can only climb from there, because it's a really demanding job. It requires a lot of you. So we already watched this video. Very first thing you do, quality assurance. All right, quality assurance. So some people, they're like me. You can raise your hand if you're like me. I'm the type of person who, if I have to do something, I just try to do it as quickly as possible, even if it's not done perfect. If that's you, raise your hand. I'm going to do it as quickly as possible, even if it's not perfect. Okay, I see quite a few hands. Some of us struggle with the opposite end, where it's like, I'm going to take my time, I'm going to get it just right, but maybe by me being slow, it's going to put everybody else, behind. Raise your hand if you're that way. If you tend to just take your time, and even if it's going to be slow, you don't mind. You want to get it perfect. So as you can see, it's sort of split. Some of us rush through things and we don't do them perfectly. Some of us do it perfectly, but we take a little bit too long. You, as a project manager, have to make sure you know how to manage both sets of people. Those who tend to be sloppy but be quick, or those who tend to be thorough but take a little bit too long. So part of that is knowing who's on my team, what are their skill sets, what are their abilities, and can they do what I'm asking them to do? Can they perform the task that is necessary? Good leaders, really, I believe, are the people who say, here's what I want done. Here are the resources necessary to get the job done. And now I'm just going to get out of the way. I'm going to let you get the job done. I'm not going to micromanage. I'm not going to have my head in everything. I'm going to empower you to do it. So how do you do that? 4 ways. The very first way is you want to have team identity. Team identity. So last week we had our potluck. Everybody in this room is part of LCM. And you probably feel like a sense of like pride, like I'm LCM. Those are my people. Malik is my program manager. There's a sense of identity, but you hang out with the LCJ folks, hang out with the LCV folks who enjoy being with them. But I'm an LCM too, and I feel a sense of pride of our LC, and I enjoy being with everybody on Mondays and Fridays, as well as my coaching group. So you have this sense of identity, which is important. Jose, do you have your hand up for a question, or was it just from earlier?
Sorry, it was from earlier.
No problem. Yep, just want to make sure. You want to make sure you hold people accountable. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. Everyone's doing what they're required to do. You're motivating your team. How do you do that? Well, there's different ways to motivate people, and everyone's motivated differently. So we can talk about that at more length. And of course, at this point in program, you're very good at this, incorporating feedback. So what I want to do is this. I want to hear from all of you. Look at these 4 bullet points and think about a way that you as a project manager would do one of these 4 things. All right, pick whichever one you want. And I want you to raise your digital hand and tell me how you would execute on this as a project manager. And like for me, oh, never mind. I'll just say anything. I love this. You guys are the best. I don't have to fill up dead space. Chelsea, go ahead. Which one do you choose and how would you do it?
So I would go with motivating them with incentives.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning of the project, I would ask them like what is like a reward that they like, like when you complete a task, what you know what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
So I would kind of make it a competition, like whoever completes their aspect of the project, you get this first, or you get the day off, or you get a raise, you know, whatever.
Mhm.
I think that would definitely get people going. Money makes the world go round.
That's right. Money is a great motivator for sure. You can even have it in your project budget that you're going to have X amount of dollars for incentives for sure. I love it. Thanks, Chelsea. So that's one way you inspire people. Yoel, then Ranish.
I kind of disagree with Chelsea just because I feel like that specific incentive would cause people to work quicker but have less quality work.
Interesting.
But what I would do is to incorporate feedback. I would do this as a daily thing or a weekly thing, depending on what kind of project we're working on.
Yep.
And I feel like feedback is very important when working with the team, because it builds relationship within the team, and it also helps each person strengthen. And I just feel like it's very important when working within a group so that you're all on the same page.
Yeah, sounds good. So how would you give feedback, Yoel? Like how would you give constructive feedback if suppose there's a person in your team who's not pulling their weight? How do you give that person feedback to make sure that they get up to standard with everybody else?
I know people like don't like the Friday feedback thing, like being put on the spot in front of everyone, but I kind of like that because I feel like it causes you to like be on your toes and try to not fall behind, because you don't want to be embarrassed in front of everyone. So I would kind of do it in a group setting and just go around seeing if anyone has specific feedback on anyone else or any specific body of work.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really good catch, Yoel, because we don't do feedback as a group because we want to embarrass anybody, but we do it because then that way you're not just accountable to yourself and your leader, you're also accountable to one another, right? I mean, we call ourselves a community because we want to keep each other accountable for our goals. So yeah, good catch. Ranish, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I was actually gonna add on to that as well too, but I feel like these are like specific to like niches of like business fields.
Hmm.
So for example, it may not one may work for like another niche, some it might not work for another niche. From personal experience, motivating a team with incentives, I wouldn't say like incentives is the word, but like for example, taking them out for dinner on like a Friday night or something, that definitely boosts like a lot. It helps a lot. Speaking from like personal experience, so I would go with motivating your team with like
Yeah.
incentives and not.
Let me ask you a question, Ranish, because maybe one day you become a project manager or a people manager. What if you said, okay, team, we're all gonna go out for dinner Friday night, and I report to you, Ranish, and I'm like, Ranish, I got young kids at home, I worked all week with you. I don't want to hang out with you guys on a Friday night. I just want to go home with my family. What would you say to me?
Oh, that's perfectly fine. You can go ahead and do that, but like from first personal experience. So
Sure.
for like like an assembly line manufacturing,
Yeah.
that works like 100%, because like at the end of the work week, especially if it's like majority of all the employees are male based,
Right.
going out for like drinks on a Friday night is like, with the company paying for it, that works perfectly fine. Everybody's willing to come in Monday morning, like perfectly energized, ready to go again.
Yeah, I think so. I think it really depends on your population and who you're working with, undoubtedly, for sure. And it's funny because you're never gonna make everybody happy. You could say, oh, we're gonna do a company lunch. And then someone thinks, well, why can't we just go home an hour early? That's just the reality. People are complicated, right? Or if I say, I don't want to go out for dinner with you guys. I saw you guys all week. Well, you don't have to go, Eric. It's totally fine. Well, can you give me $50 because I'm not going to go and I'm going to save you money on on food and drinks? I mean, it's funny. People are very, very picky about stuff like that, which is the challenges of being a leader. Yes, Chelsea.
I wanted to add, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't just say, okay, whoever handed in first, yay, you win. It's about quality. So whoever hands in the most quality work first, and we get this.
Yes, thank you for that clarity. You're absolutely right. I mean, the goal is to be fast and be good. That's the goal. You want to be able to do both of those things. Any other thoughts on this slide before we move on? Randy, you have your hand up?
Oh yeah, I do, honestly. I think peer review. I don't know. I don't know if that will fall under people accountable or incorporating feedback. But I know peer review is really helpful when you're just trying to move forward with projects, because if you know somebody's checking your work, you always want to make sure that it's good. And then even if it's not, someone's checking it.
Mhm.
So at least you kind of have that to kind of fall back on. So that way if you do move fast, at least the person who's checking it doesn't have to work as hard. They just have to make sure it's accurate.
100%. Yeah. And the funny thing of it is, the longer you've been doing something, the easier it is to make mistakes. Because you just think it's muscle memory. I've done this a million times. And then you have that second pair of eyeballs. I look at it and say, oh, you missed this and this. It's like, oh, shoot, I didn't even realize that. So, yes, having someone that comes up and checks on your stuff is critical to success. Really good point, Randy. So for those of you who feel like, man, project management, I see that in my future. I could see myself totally being that person who leads the team. Well, this is kind of what your life is like. You're kind of like the guy out here juggling all the balls because you're trying to keep communications open with your team. You're trying to manage the procurement of products. You're trying to manage the stakeholders and their demands / expectations. You're trying to stay under budget. You're trying to stay within the timeline. And like I said, you can do all the planning in the world, but life happens. Someone said that earlier. Life has a tendency to get in the way, doesn't it? So what we're going to do is I'm going to share with you guys a scenario. We had a lot of fun in Section A with this scenario. And I'm actually going to take a page out of Chelsea's book because I think it was a very smart thing. And we're going to have a competition, a friendly competition. All right. I'm going to split you guys in half here in a minute. And we're going to see who has the better answer to this scenario. So let me read you the scenario and then I'll break you into your teams. And I'll also put in the chat box as well once I'm done reading it so you guys have access to it. You're leading a project team to create a 4-week learning campaign on creating an inclusive work environment to present to your staff. Your team has been working hard for 2 months on making this the best campaign it can be. One of your team members, Richie, has not been pulling his weight. Richie is the designer of the PowerPoints, and he said he needs time for, quote, creative process, end quote, before he creates the decks. Everyone else has done their deliverable, booked the rooms, carried the food, hired the AV people, emailed the staff, and practiced their talking points, but Richie's slides are still not done. It's Monday morning, and your first team presentation is in 1 week, and your team is getting anxious that Richie isn't going to complete his deliverable, even though he insists it's, quote, under control, end quote, at your weekly meeting. You trust his judgment, but ask to have a one-on-one with him on Thursday to measure his progress. Worst case scenario you think is that you can create the slide deck, though that's not your expertise. When you get into the Zoom on Thursday, Richie never shows up. You email him no response. You call him, he doesn't answer. You ask if anyone has heard from Richie, and no one has. You call his boss, and he said he's out sick that day. Your presentation to the senior leaders is Monday. It's Thursday at 5 p.m. Oh, wait, your phone just rang. It's your mom, and she told you your grandpa just passed away in the funeral Saturday in his village in Puerto Rico, and she booked you a flight for 7 a.m. tomorrow. What are you going to do? Okay. Let me go ahead and copy and paste this scenario before I break you out into your teams. Are there any questions on the scenario?
What's our incentive?
What's your incentive? What do you mean?
Yeah, you said you're gonna break us up into two and see who does it better.
Yeah. What do you think is a fair incentive?
Bragging rights.
I got one. Yeah, bragging rights, and then you get next Thursday and next Friday off. How's that sound?
Are we for real or?
Wait, I almost fell for that. That was really good.
Thanks, Randy. I'll be here till 1:45. It's Thanksgiving and the day after. There's no class anyways. Yeah, no midterm, Chelsea. That's a good idea.
I did fall for that.
I'll do you one better. You can quit on this Thursday at 11:30. All right, is that fair? All right, this Thursday you quit at 11:30. Next week, Thursday, no class. Friday, no class. This week everyone's done at 11:30 because we have an in-service day. All right, I'm putting in your teams. Do you guys want to hear your teams, or just want to go to your teams and get started?
Yeah, just send them away. Send us away, man.
All right. I'll see you guys in 15 minutes. Good. May the odds ever be in your favor.
What is it?
Oh, so you don't want to say anything while Sophia's in the room?
Yeah,
Top secret.
G14 classified.
All right. The team should be back here in about 5 seconds. Let's see how we handle this project. This is when project management gets real. It's very easy to write down an idea on a piece of paper. It's not so easy when things start going wrong, like this scenario. All right, room one, Alex, Chels, Dandre, Jose, Precious, Sophia, Yoel. However you guys want to report out, floor is yours.
Yeah. So we let it. I don't really see. Like after carefully looking, at first I was like, oh my God, so difficult. But then after carefully looking at it, I don't even think it's really that hard because like you have time. It's just a matter of booking the right flights.
Mm-hmm.
So we see that the meeting is on Monday. We get the call about the funeral that is on Saturday. We get that call on Thursday. And the flight leaves, 7 a.m. the next morning on Friday?
Mm-hmm.
So you go on Friday. Okay, before that, we were talking about, like, we were reading through it, and we were just talking about how Rich is totally unreliable, and, you know, if we're his direct report and, you know, we're able to just, like, take him off the team, that's what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
If not, we'll just take his work away from him. If he can get it done in a time that makes me comfortable, then I don't think that he even belongs on the team. I'm not going to work with that. So we're going to delegate the work amongst the team or me in the appropriate manner and I'm going to let him know, you know, this is like, I'm going to give him a time frame before that. You know, this is unacceptable. You need to have this much work done by this time and show me that you're on a, you know, plan, or else you're cut. And, you know, I'm giving your work to this guy, and me. And also we were talking about, you can incentivize people to take Richie's work too and say, you know, we'll give you like a bonus if you take on this. So yeah, but get the return flight. So the funeral's on Saturday. So you have all Sunday to get back home from Puerto Rico. And I don't know. I'm not really a flying guy, so I'm not sure if that's a problem or not, but it doesn't sound like one. So yeah, and then just make it back for Monday and try to, with the stress, just keep it bottled in, I guess.
There you go. So if I understood you correctly, and other people can chime in, I'll make sure I understand your details. You're going to say, okay, Rich is not reliable. The rest of us who are reliable, we're going to divvy up his work, which is the PowerPoint. We're all going to do part of it. I'm going to fly out the next day, attend my grandpa's funeral, fly back Sunday, and be there ready to go on Monday for the meeting. Is that what the group decided? All right. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and hear from group two. Angie, Brian, Justice, Randy are assigned to Renish and Tyrell. What's your plan of action?
I want to start by saying that a flight to Puerto Rico is actually 3 hours and a half.
Mm-hmm.
There is internet or free Wi-Fi on the airport and on the airplane. So there is multiple time for you to do what you have to do and get it done while also visiting your grandfather.
Okay.
So starting off with what Angie said, knowing that we have a flight on Saturday, it is Thursday at 5 p.m. We still have another work day, which is Friday. Friday, you have a meeting with your team.
Your flight's Friday morning at 7 a.m., Randy.
Oh, it's Friday morning? I thought, oh, yeah, it's Friday morning. Okay, it's fine. Either way, it still works. So because we have Wi-Fi on the plane, we can have a Zoom meeting with the rest of the team. So we plan on hiring someone who works at Fiverr. Fiverr is a company that does PowerPoint presentations. They do presentations for a small fee. So on our way, while we're in Puerto Rico, we'll stay in the airport until we can confirm everything is done. Once we get everything squared away, we can go attend my grandfather's funeral. Saturday, Sunday, take my day of relaxation. I'll be home Sunday night, Monday morning, ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So using Fiverr, literally, like, we're just delegating the time, and the amount of money we'll spend on Fiverr is literally so minuscule. So delegating it would be the best option, especially trying to incentivize it for the team. They probably are like, oh, hey, I already did my part. I don't feel like doing much more. So I feel like incentives wouldn't really work in that sense. So we're using Fiverr freelancing to just delegate the work real quickly. It'll be done within a day.
Yeah. So you think that someone you hire on Fiverr can do a whole entire PowerPoint deck in a day?
With all the information that we support them. Yeah.
And all the rating, their ratings are pretty well. So
the listing actually of someone that does it.
What's that, Brian?
That we actually found like listings of people who do PowerPoint presentations, and depending on how fast you want it, that's how much they charge you.
Gotcha.
So we pay like an express fee. They get it done in 12 hours.
Wow. I didn't even know that such a website existed. I learned something new today. Amazing. Now
Fiverr's for freelancing. You could just type in anything you want and you'll get it.
Yeah. Well, now I know for my lectures next week, if my PowerPoints look a little bit more on point, you know why. Thank you both so much. I have no idea how we would even grade one another because, everyone's just going to vote for their own team. But I think both answers were good. But neither of you said what I was looking for. Neither team said what I was looking for. What I was looking for was that this scenario would never happen because early on in the project, I would identified what Alex said. Richie is not the right person for the job because you should never get to a Thursday at 5 p.m. and realize, oh, shoot, a huge portion of our project is not done and we got to go in 3 days. That shouldn't happen. So what I would do if I was the project manager is by week 1, if everyone's pulling their weight and Richie's slacking, it's time for a mano a mano with Richie and say, hey, listen, you're not pulling your weight. Either you got to step your game up or we're going to have to transition you off the team. And that's the hard decisions you have to make as a project manager. But it shouldn't happen late in the project. It should happen early in the project. Yes, Chelsea.
In our defense, you gave us a scenario. We tried to find a solution. We didn't think, no, there's no answer because it would have been solved.
No, actually, we got that answer. I was reading through it and I said, like, because you sent it in 2 sections. After the first section, I was like, all right, here you fire Richie, like before anything else. Instead of saying you trust his judgment, it says you trust his judgment, but as blah, blah, blah. Forget all of that. I have to just fire him and divvy up the work however, is best.
Yeah, so you would think if this was you, Alex, you would have been like, that Monday meeting, no, I don't trust his judgment. He's had 7 weeks to prove himself. He hasn't proved himself. He's done. Yeah. Well, listen, like I said, the thing about it is project management is both an art and a science. There is no perfect answer to this scenario. One thing I'm glad that nobody did here, which I thought was a little bit annoying, the last section was like, oh, I would report Richie to his boss. I'm like, well, that's just kind of low. You know what I mean? Like, you're all adults. Just handle it like an adult. Like, you say, hey, listen, it's not working out, and you're off this team, and that's that.
Well, we assumed that we were Richie's boss. Like,
right.
He's reporting to us right now. Like,
he's reporting to you on the project, but it doesn't necessarily mean like you're his boss.
Yeah, because we're the project manager,
right.
And it's our team that we assembled, so we can take him off. That's what we assume.
Yeah, and that will be the right thing. But listen, either if you can't take him off, at least give him like very simple, low risk tasks to handle it. Because creating the PowerPoint presentation, that's a high risk thing, not a low risk thing. It's a big important part of it being successful. Any other questions or comments on this? But this is just an idea of like project management. Like I said, this is where you earn your money. Because this is the headaches that come because you do everything according to plan. Everyone kind of pulls their weight, and then all of a sudden you have that one person or 2 people or whatever who don't, and then it can get very challenging. All right, we have 15 minutes left. I want to really quickly just go over the midterm, which is going to be this weekend. All right, so this weekend I'm going to open up the midterm. It's going to open up around like noon on Thursday. You'll have half a day Thursday, all day Friday, all day Saturday, or all day Sunday to complete it. It'll be closed on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. I'll include all this in an email as well, so don't feel like you have to write anything down. But it will be an exam style. It'll be about 40 questions long. It will be timed, so and also like you have to, once you start, you have to finish it. All right. So you can't just like open it, answer 5 questions, and then go, watch TV and then come back and do it. Like you have to do it all in one shot. So please make sure when you begin it, that you begin like at a time and a place where you're comfortable, where it's quiet, where you can focus, where you can think. And you have a whole hour. You probably won't need an hour if you know the content. You probably knock it out in 20, 30 minutes. But I'll allow that time. The reason I'm not going to allow unlimited amount of time is because this is an open book midterm. Okay, so you do have permission to look at the notes that you've taken, to look at the slides that I've uploaded on Schoology. You can do that during this midterm. You're allowed to look at your resources, but I don't want to make it 4 hours long and then every single question you just research it and then look it up. So you have to be able to know your stuff as well. But one thing I mentioned this in the email. I want to be very clear about it. We take academic integrity very seriously here at Year Up. So in the event that I'm looking at, your midterm and someone else's midterm, I'm like, wait, this is really odd. They got all the same questions right and all the same questions wrong. That's a pretty obvious tell that those potential cheating that was happening, that you were doing a midterm with somebody else. Just please don't do that. You need to this information. We've worked hard together for the last 4 weeks. It's open notes. I'm going to do everything I can to make you successful. But I really don't want to be put in an awkward situation with myself and Malik, bringing yourself and somebody else into a Zoom room and being like, hey, just be honest, did you guys cheat on this? Because unfortunately, Year Up looks very poorly on that, and it could result in suspension from the program if that happens. So I don't want to do that. I love you guys. I would hate for any of you to have to leave the program because of something so small like a midterm. So please just have academic integrity. Do it on your own. You have your notes. You have your information in front of you. You have an hour to complete it. It's about 40 questions. No surprises, no curveballs in there. It's all stuff that we studied. With that being said, on Thursday morning from 9 to 10, I am doing an optional, keyword optional, not taking attendance, not recording who's there and who's not, an optional study time. If you want to join me in section A, I'll be sharing some of the scenarios, some of the questions. You can ask questions as well. That's an opportunity for you to just dive in from 9 to 10 on Thursday morning. That will be recorded as well and uploaded on YouTube, so you can go back and watch that later if you can't make it for whatever reason. The questions will be either multiple choice or true and false. There are no fill in the blanks or anything like that. So you're all a very smart group. There's not a doubt in my mind it'll be just fine. Like I said, you all have a good grasp on the content already. It's just a way for me to gauge where are our strengths and where are our growth areas for the second half of the mod. So I talked a lot there. Questions or comments before we move on? Chelsea, is that from earlier? Do you have a question on the midterm?
You see, I would like to attend the Thursday.
Yep.
But I won't be able to. So is it possible for you to do something Wednesday? I know you said it's going to be up, but I would like to ask questions. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I also have office hours today and let me look at my calendar. I might give you wrong information. Today and tomorrow from 3:15 to 3:45. And I know there's a few students who are going to drop in from section A today and tomorrow. So I'm essentially using those 2 30-minute slots as additional study time for the midterm. So if you have a burning question, or if you want to just talk about some of the scenarios that'll be on the question, that'll be those slots will be available as well. Yep. So today 3:15, tomorrow 3:15, Thursday 9 to 10. Good question. Anybody else? Will Brian and Randy still be friends? Will we find out if Richie lived or died? Find out next time. Project Oak. Wow, Tyrell, I'm going to definitely tune in for that show. Wait, what happened in the group? Why did Randy and Brian get in an argument? What's going on there? Let's hear it.
We have a debate for Vanessa's class. So
Okay.
in the beginning, when you split us up, me and Randy really connected, sharing ideas. And then I don't know if he brought it up or if someone else brought it up, and they're like, wait, aren't you guys on the opposing teams for the debate? And the whole vibe just changed. So it's I can't be nice to Randy until we finish the debate.
Wow. Yeah, that's
Watch
very.
the debate live. Just show up. Join the Zoom link.
I'm gonna no. Vanessa sent me the link. I'll be there for all of them with my popcorn. Watching it all. I can't wait. What's the topic, Randy, that you guys are debating, you and Brian?
Our topic is should everyone be vegetarian?
Okay, and who's on what side?
We won't know until 5 minutes before.
Oh man, dicey.
It's okay. We're gonna kill him with kindness because that's it. That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for. That's right. Sophia, did you have your hand up earlier? I want to make sure I get to your question if you had one.
I just wanted to, because Thursday's a half day, right?
Yes, we're done at 11:30 on Thursday.
Okay, I think I kind of missed what Malik was saying, or Vanessa, whoever was explaining it this morning, but do you know like how that will work with our classes and stuff?
Yes, that's a good question. Thank you. So we're not going to have class on Thursday. Because we have an in-service day at Year Up, all the staff, we have a meeting from I think 12 to 5, so there will be no PM class on Thursday. But I'll be available online, email and everything. So yeah, all we have that day is an optional study time in the morning, but there is no PM class afternoon.
No classes overall.
9 to 10.
Just my class. I don't know. Do you guys have today at Thursday morning? At 10:30? Who do you have Thursday morning?
I think Thursday's our late day.
You guys don't have a class Thursday morning?
We have today at 10:30 to 10:45.
So you have to talk to her about if she's still holding her class or not. But yeah, there's not project management on Thursday. Thanks for raising that, Sophia. Yes. But yeah, we're done in the middle of the day that day. There is nothing going on in the afternoon because we have it in service. Also, I'm glad you brought that up. That reminds me, if someone asked in the previous class, if I'm in the midterm and like I'm struggling with a question, can I like go on Zoom with you and ask you about it? The answer is no. You cannot ask me a question in the middle of the midterm. But if you do it on Thursday afternoon and you email me and say, hey, this question doesn't make sense to me, I'll be available to write back. But I'm not in the office on Friday. I'm not in the office on Saturday. I'm not in the office on Sunday. All right. So if you wanted my support, take your midterm Thursday afternoon. But like I said, I'm not a very hard grader. You should know that by now. I'm not going to try to trick anybody. It's just things that we discussed. It's just things that we talked about the last 4 weeks. There's not a doubt in my mind. Everybody in this room will get an A. So don't get stressed out about it. It's 40 questions, multiple choice, true or false. We have 3 study sessions you can come to. It'll be good. Any other questions, comments? Clear? All right. Mr. Randy, an excellent assistant instructor. Thank you so much for being here today. Didn't mean to put you on the spot, but glad that you were able to step up to the plate. Do you mind reading our deliverables that are due this week?
Yes, sir. Implementation discussion board, original post tonight at 11:59 p.m. Respond to at least 2 posts by Thursday at 11:59 p.m. You forgot about San Fran scenario essay due Wednesday at 11:59. Catastrophic quality insurance due Thursday at 11:59 p.m. Midterm will be posted Thursday and be due by Sunday at 11:59 p.m.
Excellent. So those are your deliverables, and I believe we're together tomorrow. Are we together tomorrow at 9? Is that the plan? Or no, we're 10:30 tomorrow. So I'll see you then. Have a great rest of the day, and take care, guys.
Same to you, Eric.
Yeah.
See ya.